Is it acceptable for a 30-year-old to have no desire for children, buying a home, marriage, friendships, driving, or even obtaining material possessions? If you are happy with yourself, that is all that matters here. It's called depression and anxiety. I'm not a doctor or psychiatrist, but there's a difference between an introvert who recharges alone and not wanting to be a part of life. The more you don't engage, the more you don't want to engage, and it becomes cyclical. Humans are meant to physically have goals and need other humans as a pack. Even introverts. Maybe seek help. It's normal, like you asked. Maybe to normal these days, as everyone is online instead of with people physically. But it doesn't mean it doesn't lead down a darker road. The only confusing part is you mention a fairly high-paying job and saying that you save a large percentage of it. When you type everything out and portray the idea of "I don't care," but mention the salary knowing it's high, then why bother talking about the salary? I mean, it does or has to mean something if you mentioned it. My only question would be, what's keeping you at staying at this job? And what are you working towards? Because saving up a large percentage, there has to be something. Otherwise, it makes sense a little bit if you were trying to buy stimuli in some fashion, right? I'd give a 30-year-old that lives and works in a semi-truck, so I'm probably not normal either, ha. Is it acceptable? Sure. Is it normal? Depends on which definition of normal you want to use. It is definitely uncommon to not want to have any sort of relationship with anyone. Most people are not hermits. So in that case, it isn't normal. But if you're using normal to mean right, then no, it isn't necessarily wrong to feel this way. If you're actually happy, then hats off to you. That is so cool. You can save and have enough to retire sooner with the same lifestyle. When I say retire, it could also mean changing jobs, careers, or anything else. You are just free. I wouldn't say it's normal, but it's definitely not unheard of or unacceptable. I'm a 40-something female, no spouse, no kids, but I own my home. It's my sanctuary. And there are times I greatly enjoy hanging out with people, only people I already know, though, so that gets more difficult as I get older. I have major depressive disorder, but that seems to be a separate thing, although the medication could explain a low sex drive, which explains why I don't feel the need to put up with it. So I come from a very traditional religious background and have gotten a fair amount of pushback, and sometimes I'm sad for the things I don't have or haven't had. But on the whole, I'm far more happy in this non-typical life than I would be in the typical one. Once I realize that, whenever anyone indicates surprise disappointment whatever at my choices, I explain that, and I do it in such a way that they can viscerally understand that I am not kidding and really do prefer it, and go mind your own thing business now. And now they leave me alone and I'm happier. Anyway, it's your life. Everyone gets their own, and this one is yours. You get to decide what you want to do with it, so do what makes sense for you. Whether or not it's depression depends entirely on your psychological state. A Buddhist monk who lives in a monastery isn't depressed. He's an ascetic, for want of a better word. If you're satisfied with your mode of life and aren't exhibiting any symptoms of psychological distress, it's fine. Being a loner isn't an issue in and of itself. Again, it's whether or not abiding in that state over time precipitates some sort of deterioration. I think it's completely acceptable. You might be autistic, or depressed, or have a schizoid personality organization. And if you are 100% content, you might also just be you, with or without any of the above conditions. It is not normal at all, but it's acceptable. I'm in my 30s and the same way minus the success, haha. Is it normal for you? Like, if this is a big change, maybe get a workup, but if you like the peace of solitude and are happy or content, then maybe you're just an introverted ascetic, in which case, more power to you. Why does it matter to you what's normal if you're content? Why do you care what your coworkers and family think if you're happy? I feel like you've already kind of figured it out. You said you're successful and happy. What else is there? You do what makes you happy. Your life, your choices, as long as you're not making a mess for others, enjoy and prosper. Also, if your solitude and situation ever becomes burdensome or uncomfortable, please talk to someone, anyone, and make sure you're doing okay. Enjoy yourself. It's okay, everyone is different. Not everyone wants a home or kids or anything else that you can think of. Sounds pretty amazing, actually. The lifestyle you described is one reason the Jack Reacher books are popular as men's fantasy. I think there is a big difference between being lonely and being alone. Being alone can be a positive thing. There is a lot to be said to coming home to an empty apartment or house and being able to simply unwind. At the end of the day, if you feel happy, that's all that matters. Normal is bullshit. It sounds like you've done just fine so far. I will remind you, however, that life is astonishingly short. It is always good practice to step out of your comfort zone from time to time. Reddit can't tell you how you think you'll feel looking back on your time spent in say 10-20 years. Normal? Probably not. Acceptable? Sure, why wouldn't it be? It's your life, do what you want with it. Being in my 70m age, I like you lived my life as a single. The only thing that I miss is my friends who have all died off, but I have spent years slowly distancing myself from my siblings, and it is not as bad as you would think.